first video I've done quite some time. I thought my first one back should be actually around 2016 planners and paper products and what I plan to do next year. So I thought I would share with you what I've been using, what kind of has worked, what hasn't worked, because actually there's been a lot that I've basically been replicating. And then I plan to show you what I'm using for 2017. But I will start with 2016. So firstly, I have been using for quite some time the Midori 019 free weekly refill. I actually completed 2 of these. So I started, I think, in November 2015 and I finished just last month. So I really liked these. It was a nice, easy way to record small snippets of your day, what you were doing, and it was kind of like zero commitment. It was, you were only basically required to fill out this tiny little area with whatever you wanted. Even this is a lot. Some people actually use this as a diary and as a planner. I didn't. I use it as a memory form of basically a recording. And sometimes the pages would actually look quite dull. See, that's just pure writing. On the right hand side you get a page of grid paper to do with obviously what you please, for notes, to-do lists, anything like that. Mainly I would write on the right hand side what book I'd read that week, because at that time I was actually able to whip through a book a week, and stick anything in that I kind of was given. Any postcards, post-its, washi, pictures sometimes, but rarely, because they tend to bulk out the notebook quite a lot. And it was just kind of something a little bit fun. So this was like something I'd got from a trip. So really, really cool. I really like it. It keeps it nice and skinny. It has fountain pen friendly paper, and obviously it just slots straight into a traveller's notebook, which is what I've been using for quite some time now. So I really, really liked this, and managed to keep it up for quite some time. So that was the first thing, the old faithful Midori 019 free weekly refill. Then on top of that, I used the free monthly planner from Midori. This one I used to actually track anything I did on the blog or for studying, because I do a part-time degree. So in here, as you can see, this is back from March. I basically put in when I'd studied, when I did anything on the blog, when I drafted a post, edited a post, did the photography, and when it was published. It was basically designed to give me an overview of how much time I was spending on these things, and it worked quite well. So as you can see, March, quite crazy in terms of what I was doing. As the year progressed, and we get to when I actually had my son, things changed quite a bit and quietened down. But it was just a nice view, and I actually like seeing that monthly perspective on my, what I like to call, extracurricular activities. So that worked really well, and I'm now on my final page for that. So that was my second notebook or piece of paper. So that worked quite well. Then on top of that, I have another traveller's notebook, and in here I actually just have at the minute, one of the craft folders. But I usually just have a notebook, a blank notebook, or anything like that. And what I do is I just use it to record nice things, nice memories, things I've done. I put pictures in it. Lately I've tried to play around with some brush lettering, sorry, not blush. And it's just a bit of fun, really. So there's no commitment on this one. I really like it. I've recorded a lot of stuff to do with my son and how he's progressed in the last 6 months. Lots of pictures. So I use an Instax mini camera, and I love that. I take all these nice pictures. It really makes me spend time thinking about photos I'm taking, and actually, rather than having so many photos on my phone, I actually get to put them in something. So I really like this. As you can see, because I take so many pictures and put them in here, it bulks up the refill quite a lot. This is something I've been doing maybe for about 6 months now, and I really like it. So that's another notebook. So that's 3 so far. Then on top of that, I have a morning journal. At the minute, I'm doing that in a Clairefontaine A5 notebook. It's kind of like morning pages. I'm not as strict as the morning pages thing. It's not random thoughts. I'm not doing some sort of brain dump and just writing 3 pages religiously. I wake up about 20 minutes earlier than normal. I write down what I might be doing that day, what I did yesterday, things that might be on my mind, and that's it. there's no rules on this for me. I'm not trying to conform to anything. I use all my different fountain pens. That's one of the reasons I like it. I use a ruled paper, and it works quite well. So they last me, probably I go through about one notebook every 2 months, but I really like this sort of format. So that's another notebook. Then on top of that, I have a study notebook, obviously, so for doing my course. I've just recently switched into this, so this is just a Leuchtturm 1917. I go ruled again. I really like ruled paper, controversial, I know, but it works quite well. I like the index, I can date it, and now I've switched into this notebook, I should get the majority of my course notes in this one notebook. So that's another notebook I carry around. The one that's kind of tested me a lot this year is the Hobonichi Techo. I used one of these in 2015 and I really liked it. It was just really, really simple. I only used day per page view, and I basically just wrote down what had happened in that day. That worked quite nicely. For 2016, I had grander plans. I wanted to kind of switch it up. I liked the format. I liked how it worked, but it was all words, and actually when you were looking back over it, I didn't actually read the pages. So for memory purposes, I decided for 2016, my idea was that I would basically take a photo a day, like this. That's my husband and our cat. And I would just take the photo on my phone at this point, print off the pictures and then stick them in. And I really liked that idea. I thought it'd be really nice to look back on 2016 with that. The only issue is, very, very quickly, the pages really bulked up and I hated it. It just became so chunky. And you can see how the spine kind of is just bowing there. So it drove me mad. So canned that idea very, very quickly. Went back to what I'd been doing before, so which is boring writing on a page. And that's when I felt like I was repeating myself. I had the free weekly refill from Midori. I was writing in a notebook anyway, and I just felt like, you know what, this format wasn't working for me. So for the middle of the year, and again around the time my son was born, this didn't get used at all, so I canned it. When I got to October, I actually felt like I'd found another need for this. I'd started bullet journaling free form in a Leuchtturm, but I couldn't get time to do it. I couldn't set up the pages, I couldn't write things down, I couldn't decorate it as I was. And I really enjoyed the system, but I just didn't have the time to do it with a newborn. So I decided to come back in to my Techo and actually just use it in a similar bullet journal format. So I would literally write down what I wanted to do that day. Sometimes I would record the weather if I remembered. On the odd occasion, I would actually do a silly little doodle. And I just carried on like that, and actually it's been working really well. And then in the front where you have the monthly view, I actually used it as a calendar. So here is December, here's all the things I've got going on. And I really like it. It's worked really well. I can use my fountain pens in, so that's a big winner for me. And I will continue to use that for the remainder of the year. It's been working, it sits on my desk. Rarely comes with me because it's quite chunky. So that's also... have a pocket notebook, of course. At the minute, I'm totally in love at the minute with Baron Fig notebooks. I really like the size, so it means I can use it in a Passport Midori Traveler's Notebook if I choose. The field note size just wasn't working for me anymore. I just found it too big, and I got too distracted by the covers and the insides and the grid and everything else. I just felt kind of pressured into what notebook to choose. So Baron Fig, I'm really, really liking. It's simple. I then decorate it how I want. So at the minute, I've just got a silly bit of washi tape on it, a sticker from the lovely Stationer, the new store by Tessa, and then with my lovely label maker, which I bought from the Stationer, I've just added notes on the front, and I like it because it's mine. So I really enjoy that, and obviously I just use this. It goes in my handbag. I jot down notes, to-do lists, shopping lists, Christmas lists at the minute, and in the back I actually use it as a way, especially if I'm out and about, I just kind of write what might be going on in my head at that time or what I've been doing. I rarely look back on it, but it's just a habit that I've got into, and actually I quite like it, and I start that from the back, and so my notebooks meet in the middle, and it's also a way I don't have to carry around several notebooks, so I quite like this format. But what this has all meant is 2016 I have a hell of a lot of notebooks, so it kind of looks like this. So I need two hands. It looks like this, and to be honest, it's just a bit ridiculous. There's some things in this that can't change. So the non-changeable elements are obviously a pocket notebook. We'll always have a pocket notebook. A personal journal, also non-negotiable. That will always stay there. My study notebook can't change, so obviously that will continue. And my morning journal, for the time being, will stay as is in an A5 notebook. I quite like the size. I think it works quite well. So that's non-negotiable. But there were elements, I guess, on the planning side, which leaves these three things that could be basically looked at. So I have made some decisions for 2017. Now the way I'm looking at it is